Hello, everyone. Frank and Darren back again, the Slaughterland Movie Podcast. Darren, this movie that we're about to talk about was picked by our great mod, Andrew Stevens. And it's about time we got around to it because this is a legendary movie by a legendary director with a legendary cast and crew. And it's going to be probably right behind or in front of, actually, Jaws as being very difficult to find anything worse to talk about, and that's 1960s Psycho.
I loved it. Watching again this morning, I haven't watched it for maybe 10 years. Watching it again this morning was fantastic. You forget we are watching a film from the 1960s because it's so ahead of its time. You forget that you're watching a black and white movie because you just get so immersed in it straight away. And then you remember as well how great the sequel is, you know, when this is playing out. Because I think at when I first saw Psycho 2, I didn't make the link back to the original a lot of the time with some of the characters and some of the goings on. But now, obviously, it's all kind of clear and everything. And I love watching this film. I think that I just, right from the moment you see Hitch outside the real estate place, and he kind of has that sort of pervy look at Janet Leigh as she walks into the shop. But no, great movie, incredible suspense, great performances, like you said, and I can't believe we've left it this long.
Yeah, and done in black and white for, you know, specific reasons. If you guys have watched the movie Hitchcock with Sir Anthony Hopkins, and Helen Mirren, you'll get to see what it took to make this movie actually be, how to put it on film, is because the censors were so far up Hitchcock's ass, you know, that he couldn't get away with a lot of things. You know, even, as Dave likes to say, a toilet flushing was something that no one wanted to look at, that the censors thought nobody could stand, even though everyone does it every day. If they see it on screen, they would faint.
You Americans are weird.
Yeah, well,
no one could bother with a toilet flushing on the screen in 1960. It's not even a dirty toilet.
Well, you guys just invented the toilet over there when it came out, you know, in your outhouses.
We just put them in the house at that stage, I think. Actually, no, there were probably still a lot of them in the garden at that point.
Yeah, they dug a hole out there right next to the turnips.
Yeah.
So let's get to Psycho.
You are what you eat.
Oh, there we go. No. Like you said, after you watch Psycho, you really want to move to Psycho 2 because it's that good of a movie. And also, really quick, the score is
Bernard
a character
Herrmann,
on itself. The scenes in here are iconic and been mimicked by other movies. So I like it when movies mimic other movies. It just means they've crossed into pulp culture, into fiction, into nonfiction. Okay, first, your best character.
Bates. That has to be, you know, the OG slasher.
I'm so glad you're picking the obvious because I want you to, because I'm going somewhere else. I'm like, I hope Darren's picking him.
I was going to pick something else. I was actually going to go with
Don't.
Okay.
Don't, because it might be mine.
Okay. All right. Okay. Never mind. But no, I mean, such an iconic character, such an iconic actor as well. I'm always obsessed with his figure on screen. Those shoulders, they're like out here somewhere. He's just like, and none more so than on the Psycho 2 poster when he's
a straight line, a perfect straight line.
Yeah, he's just like, he's so broad in the shoulders. It's just like, Jesus, those are shoulders most men would kill for. He was such a statuesque, handsome man in these films. And, you know, and that's why it was difficult to comprehend the fact that he could do anything like this. It's such a great role, it really is. And, you know, he doesn't actually come into the film until the sort of half-hour mark. But from that moment on, you're kind of transfixed on him. Everything he says, because he's kind of like almost hiding in plain sight all the time, dropping hints as to what he's doing and what he's into. It's a great performance and a great actor, great character. One of the best slashers of all time.
I agree with you. I was gonna pick Norman as well, but I'm gonna go to Norman's alter ego, and I'm gonna pick Mother as my best character. You can't have Norman without Mother. If you didn't have Mother, you wouldn't have this movie. And I love how the psychiatrist at the end says that Norman did the killing but did not do the killing. This psychiatrist would not be a good witness or expert in court, because he would say he did, but he didn't. It was proven because Norman created this illusion or this alter ego of Mother for his own guilt, that Mother has been taking over his body more and more and more, where if Norman committed a crime or Mother committed a crime, none of them in the medical sense could be found guilty in a court of law. So Mother is actually the master Bates of this body. What are you laughing at?
Very good.
You're childish. You're childish. But so at the end, as we get that great, inner monologue and voiceover of Mother, where he says, "We won't even, I won't even going to swat that fly. I'll just blame it on the boy. He's always been doing this, always been doing that." And then you get that skull, that looks. And for me, it has to be Mother. And hearing Mother's voice, is fantastic too. So my best character, Mother.
I do have one kind of. There is a moment, and it's actually I'll leave it. We'll talk about it later
because we're going to talk about everything at the end. Thank you, Andrew, for choosing this movie. Next bastard who picks The Shining. Okay, your worst character,
Dr. Fred Richmond.
You think so?
Yes. Really? Yeah. Too much context at the end. We get it. I get it. I know
he's
what
he's
done. He's an idiot. He's a maniac. He's a psycho. He's got a split personality. He's. I know that. I get it. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to explain it all. Yeah. The amount of context at the end that we get, it just kind of like, just get on with it, for God's sake.
He's nuts. We know.
Yeah, we know. You don't have to explain it for 10 minutes.
He was almost like this.
I'll understand.
Well, he didn't, but he did. He was getting aroused himself.
I think you have to kind of, put yourself back in 1960, whereas things like this, it's a kind of a day-to-day occurrence over here now, isn't it? Well, not over in the UK, but just in general, this sort of thing. Multiple personality disorder, that sort of thing. Whereas back then, it probably wasn't something that was diagnosed. And so, it maybe needed that little extra bit of context there, but it does go on. Oh, does it go on at the end? I could have just done with a little explanation, a 30-second explanation, and then cut to him in the cell with a blanket on him. That would have been fine for me. But no, you've got all these blokes there smoking, rubbing their chins, trying to kind of come up with an explanation for it all, and it just is too much.
Sam with his hand up Marion's sister's dress too while he's explaining all this, and he's bored, and he almost brought out a chart with one of those pointy education sticks like Ross Perot during the presidential campaign. He was just like, see what we have here in the cerebellum. And you're just like, Sheriff, can I borrow that gun? This is gonna be about another murder.
It is my only criticism of the film, is that, because they've been so clever and kind of subtle throughout the whole movie. And for a 60s movie, it is incredibly subtle. It just kind of spoils it when they're smashing you over the head at the end. So he's my worst character. But in the scheme of things, it's just a little nitpick, really.
Okay. My worst character is Tom Cassidy. The cowboy that comes in with the 40 grand. He's like,
he's a bit like Slim Pickens or something, isn't he?
Yeah, it was. You could tell they went out to lunch, right? They already had a couple drinks. They're going back in to the office to have a little bit more of the bottle, and he's flirting with Marion, and it was just kind of a real sleazeball. That's why maybe she didn't have a problem stealing his wad of cash, because he was such a dick.
Yeah.
But again, we're just nitpicking, aren't we, I hear? I mean, every character has a point in this movie. But yeah, Tom Cassidy.
Well, I couldn't decide between. In fact, I had decided on the girl in the real estate place, the secretary or whatever, the one who's
The one that goes, I declare.
Yeah.
That's Pat Hitchcock.
No, I know it is, but I was kind of umming and ahhing about whether it should be her. Then I was thinking, should it be the manager there, or but then at the end, I'd totally forgotten about the doctor there, so he kind of won out in the last dying seconds. But yeah, I can go with that. Could
you imagine Tom Cassidy and the doctor and together carpooling, and you're together and you're on a long trip to London, 200 miles.
Oh my God, that would have been
and
awful.
He's explaining to you why you should invest your money into mutual funds and stocks and bonds. And then Tom Cassidy's going, you're going to lose it all. I know. And you're like, I'm just going to throw myself out on the rails right now. I just had enough. Okay, your best line.
Best line. I mean, it's an obvious one.
Mm-hmm.
It's she needs me. It's not as if she were a maniac, a raving thing. She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
I don't think I ever heard a line like that said by a man that didn't have any emotion but showed emotion when he said that line. Have you ever heard it? And ever since that movie has come out, where it says we all go a little mad sometimes, I think that's because of this movie. I don't think any other movie has said something like that.
No, I think you're right there. It's just, there's no other line that you can really pick. I just think it's. I guess there were a couple of others I was pondering over, and I was trying to sort of find one that wasn't the obvious, but it's such a good
like mother
line.
Blood kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nothing from the doctor.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Excuse me. My best line, I have to, is the line that always makes me laugh. It's a funny line. It's in the beginning of the movie, and it's when I send my ex-wife for alimony, you can lick the stamps. They just got done fooling around, and he's like, I'm in debt so much we can't get married. There's some way I have to pay her off. This way I could, you and I could be together, and but it's. Why would you say that? It's kind of like saying you got a new girlfriend. Lick the stamps on the alimony. Here, you can sign my name on the alimony check. This is how much money I have. It's good. Why would you want to, remind your betrothed that you're broke?
But it's kind of for legit reasons, though, isn't it? It's not like he's just kind of spunking it on. Booze and cigarettes or something. Yes.
When I said my ex-wife for alimony, I'll let you lick the stamps. What he's actually saying, you're screwing around with a loser, aren't you? Isn't she?
No,
that's what he's saying.
Yeah, he's upfront about it, but
she don't care.
Yeah. He's called Sam Loomis. We'll forgive him.
Who doesn't want to do a Sam Loomis?
What's a Sam Loomis?
That's a Sam Loomis.
Oh, okay.
Who doesn't want to do a Sam Loomis?
No, exactly.
Ladies, if you see a Sam Loomis, grab him. Worst line, your worst line.
Worst line is a line that's always made me feel slightly uncomfortable and makes Marion feel uncomfortable as well, where she immediately kind of changes the subject. And it's Norman when he turns around and says, now it's not actually, I feel bad calling it the worst line. There are not many bad lines in this film. This is just a line that makes me feel uncomfortable rather than it's the worst line. Mm-hmm. And it's when he says, a son is a poor substitute for a lover. And she immediately changes the subject and goes, why don't you go away?
It's all about context, right?
It is all about context, but it's just the way that he delivers it, I think, that just makes me feel a bit sort of
50% of us are thinking sick
odd
things.
thing to say. Yeah, but it's an odd thing to say, So and she's uncomfortable with it as well, the way that he delivers it, and that's why she kind of quickly changes, lane with it all.
And she feels bad for him too.
She does, I think, but she's also wary as well.
Yeah. It'd be funny at that moment if she says, "You have any stamps?" My worst line is where now I'll say it really quick. I'll get it back, and if any of it's missing, I will replace it with her fine, soft flesh. That's Tom Cassidy finding out that the money's gone. Now, Darren, there's always that question when she's in the car and she's hearing these voiceovers. Is that really happening, do you think, or do you think that's in her mind?
I wonder about the bit where the boss crosses the road. Like, is she actually seeing him? Or is that just her paranoia?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because he kind of stops and stares at her as if...
Did she even work there at all?
Well, exactly. Well, this is the thing. He's the one that's told her to go and put it in a safety deposit box or whatever. So why would he give her that look as he's kind of walking across the road? Is that just her mind playing tricks on her because she's stealing the money effectively?
Well, she's supposed to be home in bed with a headache.
Yeah.
Now she's going out. If you left work, I'm sure we've all left work sick and gone home. And there's some days where you did it, then you lay down, and a few hours later you felt better, you went out. But if your boss caught you do that, would he say, "What the hell were you doing?"
But it shouldn't be an unusual thing for him to see her, right?
No,
because he's told her to go.
But Tom Cassidy's there with him too.
No, I know. But he carries on walking straight across, doesn't he?
I don't know whether it's real or not real, but it adds to the story. It's pretty good.
Of course,
pretty good.
Of course, yeah.
All right, hard part now. Best kill. There's only two.
There is only two. 78-52.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that documentary?
Yes.
Great documentary.
Guy with the sock over his head.
You can't pick anything other than this sequence because it's the number one. It's the granddaddy of slasher kills. The number one slasher kill of all time. The one that everybody knows. You don't even have to show somebody the whole scene. You could just show somebody the shower, the way that it goes over the camera, and the camera doesn't get wet, and they know exactly what it is. Just incredible. The fact that a whole documentary has been made about this one scene, about this 52 seconds, is amazing. And one of the reasons I assume that the film was made in black and white, and chocolate sauce. Chocolate sauce they used for this. But yeah, an amazing sequence and shot beautifully. Absolutely amazing the way that it's shot. And the fact that she is naked but you don't see anything, the way that he's constructed that scene so that they could get by the senses without any nudity is genius. Really, really clever.
It's not like she was vulnerable in a car or vulnerable in a room. She's vulnerable in a spot where any person can be vulnerable. You have nowhere to go in a shower. Except for where somebody's standing in front of you. You are so vulnerable. You are literally, and you are literally naked, and also naked with weapons. You're not going to throw soap at him or anything like that. Soap would have been a better weapon than a ball of string. Let's just say that. But I noticed when I watch that scene in HD, I can see the eyes of the actor doing the stabbing, which is horrible. It takes away from it.
You can see the eyes? Really?
I could see the eyes. Eyes. Which kind of could make it a little more creepy, right? A little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But let's think of some movies that have recreated that scene. You have Lampoon's Vacation has done that with a banana. High Anxiety has done that. Here's your paper. Here's your paper. And using the ink from the newspaper as the blood. There's so many. Without that scene, I don't think we would have had a good movie.
Oh, yeah,
with that score,
I get it.
With that music. Oh my God,
those strings are incredible. It is. It has never been bettered at all in terms of because it's the original. There's nothing that came before it that's remotely similar at all.
What about
everything
the suspense?
else is just
leading up to that, the door opening.
Yeah, and you get that whole sequence with him having a peep as well.
We'll just check it to make sure she had enough towels.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Could you imagine? I would like a morning wake up call. Okay, all I gotta do is pull down the picture and just yell it in the hole on the wall. Just serve it a wall. Imagine spritzing her. Just what's going on? Or doing a Porky's.
Yeah.
Norman. Okay, even harder. Your worst kill. I picked none. I'm being upfront right now. I picked none.
You picked none?
None. You didn't. There's nothing. I couldn't. There's only two. I couldn't.
Okay, well, let's not call it a worst kill. Let's just talk about that other kill, which is Arbogast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Martin Balsam getting stabbed on the stairs, slashed in the face. Great effect.
Oh, yeah.
Really great effect. I don't know how they did it. I agree, because there's two things at play there. There's the actual physical effect that's kind of spurting blood, where you can't see any tubes or anything like that are pumping the blood. So you've two things at play. You've got the
bladder effects.
Slash, the bladder effects. That's what the word I'm looking for. The bladder effects, the slash, if you like, but also the fact that he's falling backwards down the stairs as well, which is a great classic Hitchcock bit of photography.
Same thing he did with Vertigo.
Vertigo type effect. Yeah. So Martin Balsam, even though his character is sort of short-lived, is not the worst kill in this by any stretch. It's just the only other kill. So I'm not going to call it the worst kill, because it's a great kill, but it's just not as iconic as the shower scene. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't say anything bad about it. I feel it. I think more than the shower scene, because I can imagine getting slashed in the face and then falling backwards, and especially on those stairs.
It's kind of a Terrifier did the same thing, didn't they? On the girl in the bedroom. So it's very similar to that. But no, great shot. Really, really cool shot.
I can imagine what that slash felt like. I mean, okay, I'm not comparing it, but like paper cuts hurt.
Yeah.
But just getting one right in the face. It wouldn't be a sexy scar, though.
You reckon?
I think so.
On Martin Balsam?
Well, no, on somebody a little bit more muscular with a little bit more hair, or at least a decent looking beard. Kind of like, I've been through battle, and I'm here to take you as my woman, and I got this awesome scar, to prove that I'm
like Blofeld.
No, not like cover your ears. Not like that. That was like an eye thing, right? And then like down.
Yeah.
Like Game of Thrones. The original Game of Thrones was Blofeld. Jesus. Okay, really hard now. Your best moment.
Okay. It's the moment where they sort of figure out what's going on. And Norman goes up to the house, and the camera goes up the stairs as he goes into the bedroom, and then the camera is lifted above the bedroom door, as he's talking to his mom about putting her in the fruit cellar. And then he and it's just the way he can get round not exposing the fact that it's a dead body. Is to lift the camera above as he carries the mum out of the bedroom and to take her downstairs. And just that whole one take shot of the camera following up the stairs, listening in on the conversation, and then elevating above the actual door frame and on the staircase as he carries her downstairs. I think it's a great scene. The only thing I would question is that it looks like she's got real legs, whereas they would be bone or something.
Magic legs.
Yeah. Really well done, because it hides the fact that he's voicing the mother and things as well. So
put me down.
Yeah. Very, very cool way of doing it.
What would you do if he's at the top of the steps and he slipped and mother went down the steps?
Her head come off and
she just rolled. And she hit the door just and he went, oh shit. Coming, mother.
But yeah, it's kind of just slightly let down by the fact that she has normal legs, which is kind of to sort of throw us off the scent, if you like. But
well, he was a taxidermist, wasn't he?
Maybe he stuffed her legs up. I don't know.
With crackers.
Yeah, anything like that.
Peanut butter and crackers.
Yeah.
Okay, my best moment also has to do with Mother, and that's Mother's reveal. Still gets to me to this day. It's her turning around, but it's not just her turning around. It's that little...
the little bounce in the chair.
Yeah, the little bounce. It's a terrifying looking prop. We hope it's a prop. And I wouldn't put it past Alfred to say, get me something real. You know? Then you hear the screaming from Norman as Mother coming down. And then Sam actually saving the day, and he has no strength, Norman, as Mother, because he was able to, they were able to subdue him. He was able to subdue Norman, but it's Mother's strength. That's how far into it. But that scene always gets me. I always wait for it. It's so slow. Alfred had this thing about revealing the tension slowly, and we were like, just end it. Just end it already. It's scary enough. But yeah, Mother's reveal. Fantastic scene. Oh, and then we get to your favorite scene with the doctor explaining.
Oh, God. I watched this in a version that I'd forgotten that I had. It was on my shelf, and I'd never unwrapped it. And it was the 50th anniversary Blu-ray. And they'd re-recorded the soundtrack in 5.1. And it's really distinctive when he comes in the room screaming this time. Usually it's all kind of thrown into a mono mix, and there's no definition there. There's no separation at all. But with this, it was really distinctive, him screaming, and it comes across really well. Yeah. As he's wrestling with Sam. Like you say, though, it's almost like he gives up, isn't it? It's like he knows that, he's gonna do it. But then when Sam grabs him, it's just like, I ain't gonna win this. That's it. That's me done with all of this. So it is a great moment, great reveal, and a real satisfying conclusion to it all.
I'm so glad that Andrew picked this because we did a poll, and Psycho was winning by a large margin.
Oh, everybody was, it was streets ahead of the other two films that we're going to record, but. Hopefully that doesn't put people off, but it does make me want to do Psycho 2. I think we've never done I know you've done a commentary on Psycho 2 with Dave one time, and I know we've also talked Psycho 2 on a number of episodes, but we've never done a best and worst of. So I think it's a good time now to maybe look at doing that.
I agree with you. We get into these conundrums of us getting these great movies that people have selected us to do the best and worst of, and you and I are just like, well, now we got to do part 2, God damn it. Because the second one and sometimes even the third ones are great. They just keep going.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we got Psycho out of the way. Did you ever go to Universal Studios Florida?
Yes.
Did you ever see the Hitchcock Experience?
Yes, I did.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Where they showed
I have
you
seen that.
everything, and they did a Psycho tribute. I don't think it's there anymore, which is so sad.
It was there the last time. Well, the last time I went was about 15 years ago, but yeah.
Do you
It's near the earthquake experience, isn't it? Well, that's just around the corner.
where you and Zoe are like,
The earthquake experience is really good.
well, the water is the worst part.
Yeah. When it comes the subway cart and then the water comes in, and they used that in Beverly Hills Cop 3, but threw a bunch of stormtroopers or something in there with it, didn't they? Like robots or something, I don't know.
Like
But we're
Battlestar
drifting here.
Galactica.
We're drifting.
Yeah. But Andrew, we're so glad you picked Psycho. Now we're gonna move on to Psycho 2 eventually, probably sooner than later. Darren, what we got coming up? We're gonna do 7 right after this.
We're going to do 7. We're also looking at, we're going to do a live episode this Friday, I think. That would be fun.
And Darren, spring is finally coming too. We're starting to get our energy back, aren't we? It's beautiful outside. I can see through your doors. I mean, not through your doors, but I can see, coming through the windows. It must be a nice sunny day where you are.
Oh, yeah. It's lovely. Lovely Easter weekend. Feels such a shame to be sat in this hot bedroom talking to you.
I do have that effect on people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you soon for 7. And as always, stick to the roads.
And the best of luck.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.